Welcome to the WP-Tonic This Week in WordPress and SaaS podcast, where Jonathan Denwood interviews the leading experts in WordPress, e-learning, and online marketing to help WordPress professionals launch their own SaaS.
Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic This Week in WordPress and SaaS. Got a great guest, got a great WordPress entrepreneur, digital agency owner, got McAlister with us of Ollie, and a couple of other things. It should be a great discussion. So, Mike, would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me on. I've been a long time watcher of the show, so it's cool to come on. My name's Mike McAlister. I've been in WordPress a long time. I've started a design and development company a long time ago, and then transitioned into products. And for a long time, I had a successful theme and plugin business. And in 2018, I sold that to WP Engine and worked there for a bit. And then just recently, earlier this year, I transitioned out of WP Engine and back into the WordPress product space with a new product, an upcoming product called Ollie. And that's what we're going to talk about today, Ollie and block themes and all that good stuff.
Well, there's so much to talk about because, you've been very active with Atomic and selling it to WP Engine, your course, Liftoff Creator course. It should be a great discussion, folks. We've got a lot to discuss, and Mike's got a lot of insights. But before we go into the main meat and potatoes of this great interview, I've got a couple messages from our major sponsors. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
Are you looking for ways to make your content more engaging? Sensei LMS by Automatic is the original WordPress solution for creating and selling online courses. Sensei's new interactive blocks can be added to any WordPress page or post. For example, interactive videos let you pause videos and display quizzes, lead generation forms, surveys, and more. For a 20% off discount for the tribe, just use the code WP-Tonic, all one word, when checking out, and give Sensei a try today.
Hi there, folks. It's Jonathan Denwood here, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, and that's Zolo.com. If you've got a WordPress website, a membership website, and you're looking to link it with a great financial management package, Zolo can provide this solution. So all your bookkeeping needs are done through Zolo. If you need new inbox email functionality and you don't want to pay the high charges that Google will charge you, Zolo offers a great email inbox platform. They've got over 50 apps and services that all integrate fantastic with WordPress at great value levels, and they almost always offer a fully functioning free product as well. So it's just amazing value. Also, if you're a WordPress developer or agency owner, Zolo are looking for great partnerships in the WordPress space. To get all this information, all you have to do, folks, is just go over to Zolo.com and they have the products that you're looking for. Thank you so much, Zolo, for supporting WP-Tonic and the Machine membership shows. It's much appreciated. We're coming back, folks. I just want to point out that we've got some great special deals from our major sponsors. Plus, we've got a curated list of the best WordPress plugins, services, and solutions. So you don't have to trawl the internet to find the best solution for yourself or for a client. To get all these goodies, all you have to do is go over to wp-tonic.com deals, wp-tonic.com/deals, and you'll find all the free goodies there. What more could you ask for? Free goodies. We're not children at heart, are we?
That's right.
Well, I'm not. No, not at all. Am I, listeners and viewers? So, Mike, So tell us a bit more about Ollie, and also, I don't know if you also want to touch your Liftoff Creator course. What's the main objective? But let's start with Ollie. So you've got a lot of experience. Obviously, you had a successful exit with Atomic. You've gone back into the space in Ollie. So what do you want to achieve with Ollie, and how do you think the whole Gutenberg block space has matured or changed over the past couple of years? Only minor questions, Mike.
Yeah, just those tiny little questions here.
We could spend 45 minutes on that, couldn't we?
That's right. Yeah, we'll chip away at it though. So yeah, like I said, I ran a WordPress theme and plugin business for several years, and my style of WordPress theme was very kind of minimal, beautifully designed, but I didn't get into these mega themes and have all of these building features in there. I just wanted like lean and mean themes that people could install on their sites, click activate, and kind of hit the ground running. And for the longest time, I wanted more from just WordPress core. I wanted just the ability to be able to change colors on the fly and maybe make live edits. And so, for the longest time, I wanted that. It just wasn't coming. It wasn't coming. And then, here we are. We're at the block editor has arrived. The site editor has arrived. Global styles, patterns. All of these things have kind of exploded onto the scene, right? And so naturally, my instincts were, okay, well, what can I build for this? The space that I know so well is WordPress themes, and so I spent the past year digging deep into block themes, and you really got to spend some time because all of these things, they come together in different ways, and some things are dependent on other things. And so there's a lot to it, but after
I'm just amazed you still got all your hair.
It's hard to see, but it is graying, slowly but surely. But the final result of that was, this Ollie WordPress theme, which you can learn about at olliewp.com. And so I'm kind of taking the same approach. It's beautifully designed. It comes with 50 plus patterns, which are like pre-designed elements that you can just spit onto the page and have a beautiful layout. I'm keeping it very close to WordPress core. It's all built on core technology, so you don't need any extra plugins or anything like that. And that's the idea, is to give somebody the experience where you have WordPress installed, you install a WordPress theme, and hopefully that's all you need to build a basic website. So that's the gist around Ollie. There's some other elements to it where I'm also trying to make it a space of education, because I think that's a huge problem we're seeing right now. A lot of people are interested in block themes and the block editor and the site editor, but there's a lot of frustration and confusion around how to work all this stuff and how that fits into their workflows. And so that's also part of my offering is an educational element to kind of pair with the product.
Right. So it's basically to build a theme that utilizes the core technology, but that's lightweight, that isn't encroaching. Because I don't know if you agree with this, but there's always been a kind of back and forth about certain themes that are really frameworks, in my opinion.
Certainly.
And other things which are just, that's the wrong word, but are a theme. They don't have no pretensions to become a framework. I see WP Cadence or I always pronounce it incorrectly. People laugh. I call it Spectre. WP. I see them as frameworks rather than a theme, if you know. Yeah. Would you agree with my synopsis there?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're offering kind of under the hood a lot more, and kind of they're I would argue they're for that builder crowd, the prolific builders who are building a lot and need kind of systems around the stuff that they're building. So I say that's a pretty fair assessment.
Yeah. It's that last bit that because in some, that's an interesting way, because I always saw it the opposite. I always saw Cadence and other frameworks kind of offering a solution to the DIY or somebody that just wanted to build a website for a business, where a product like yours and other products, I saw them focused at the more professional level of the market. But I might be wrong there. By the way, I think that's one of the things about Gutenberg and where we are at the present moment. It seems to be trying to appeal to two very separate buckets of people. You got the small business owner, the non-profit, various types that want to build online presence and like WordPress, and then you've got another large crowd, which are the professional crowd, as I call them, the implementers, the developers, the designers, marketers, and there's trying to provide something that appeals to these various groups. Is only difficult. I think it's semi-impossible. I'm rambling, aren't I? What do you think?
No.
What I have outlined?
This is, these kinds of conversations are great, rambly or not, because we are at this kind of inflection point of so much of this is undefined, right? With the block editor and Gutenberg and full site editing, who all this is for and who takes to it and what the product space does with it and who they aim it towards. One thing I'm thinking about, I'm very forward about, I'm building Ollie for that futuristic crowd, for the next 10 years crowd. I'm not building it for the folks who are using Cadence already or the folks, who want the hybrid themes. I'm building this thing intentionally towards the future, because the way I look at it is, how many installs of WordPress are being installed every single day from .org and WordPress.com? Probably tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. I don't know. Many, many, many installs. And what they're getting and their default install is the block editor, the site editor, a full site editing theme, a block theme with one of the 2023s. And that's, if you're a new user to WordPress, that's what you get, and that's all you know. You don't know about Cadence. You don't know about Beaver Builder. You don't know any about that. This is the experience that's being presented to you. And so that is kind of the experience that I'm looking to build towards. I'm looking for that customer who says, I might be new to WordPress. I don't know about all this. Do I need a page builder, all this? What's this thing that's built into WordPress? How can I work with that? That's what I know. That's what I'm getting. That is a huge market that is growing every single day. That's, every install is a new kind of potential customer. And that's who I'm aiming these products at, is these people who are in this new WordPress experience and kind of maybe looking around like, okay, well, what next? What do I do with this thing? Giving them something like Ollie, which is far more advanced than a default theme, in that it actually looks like a, kind of a business website, or you can make it an agency or a portfolio. It kind of has a real website feel to it. So that's kind of where I'm pointing this towards. But as you say, all of these things are pointed at different people, and then how they take to it is anyone's guess.
The only thing I'll put to you about, because obviously, Ollie, I'm presuming it's a full site editing theme. Yeah. Don't you think, I was discussing it, I do another podcast with Spencer Forum, and we were discussing this last week, and he thinks full site editing is a bridge too far. He thinks it's caused a lot of confusion. It causes a lot of confusion to the people that you've just outlined that you want Ollie to appeal to, because it just offers too much too quick. So do you think there is a problem with that, around, because obviously you could say it's early days, but where does it end? I think a better thing is to have so much functionality to offer to the newer user and have a developer kit and be able to lock down certain features. What's your own thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, I there's certain things about that resonate with me. Obviously, I think this was going to be. First of all, I think we can all agree. Hopefully, we can all agree. WordPress had to evolve to some degree. We were like stuck in the past for a long time. The block editor was a huge lurch forward. That alone, just being able to have more expressive content, huge, right? Yeah. And I think even the folks who were maybe a little hesitant can also see that we had to move into more of an advanced site building space with everything else kind of evolving around us. WordPress just couldn't stay where it was, even in the hybrid theme space. We just can't stay there too long because everything else is moving so much quicker. So this was never going to be. This is the biggest CMS on the planet. It's bigger than all the other ones combined. So this was never going to be an easy transition. And it's never going to be super smooth and well thought out per se, because it's also volunteer driven. This isn't some big corporation that has a big entity of product management around WordPress. They do their best, but we're all volunteers, and so it is what it is. Now, having said that, I think that even from WordPress leadership, they acknowledged early on that the kind of rollout of some of this stuff was a lot rougher than it needed to be, in that maybe just poor planning and timing, and some of the stuff that's happening on WordPress.org is kind of goofy, and so I don't know. I mean, I would hope that there's lessons learned in that, and it seems like maybe there is. And I also see that, I was developing, atomic blocks on the bleeding edge of the block editor, where it was every single day it was breaking. So I was, it was a painful experience, but I learned a lot in the process. But comparing what WordPress was like in that stage to where we are now, it's far more stable. There aren't huge features being added. We're largely just shaping up the stuff that's in there. It's still all very new, so it does seem a little precarious to some folks. But we're with this second phase kind of coming to an end, and this polish phase and collaboration and workflows, we are kind of getting out of that growth thing now, and now we're into a polish phase. So I don't know. I don't know if I agree that it was too much in entirety. I feel like this is where we needed to be, and I feel like some of the stuff that I'm seeing in Figma and kind of the concepts that are coming together in GitHub, the ultimate vision of this makes perfect sense to me, and as an entrepreneur and as a product creator and a longtime WordPress person, it makes perfect sense. I just think we will have to have patience and grow through it. But I think the end result will be something we're all happy we have in the end.
So what do you envision? What would you like Gutenberg, the block editor, the full site editor, what do you see as the opportunities and the thing, what really gets your juices going about where you think this might be in a year's time, in 18 months, we are talking about web development, so they're like cat years.
So
let's just say a year. Which is where would you like to see things be? What if you had your gene, you could rub the gene. I'm minding my metaphors here, but what would you really like to see it in a year's time?
Yeah. I'm a bit of a radical when it comes to that stuff, and I'm more of a let's just go for it kind of guy. And I know that like a lot of people don't love that, but if you look at the site editor now, we have this new view, right? Site editor, it's got the black sidebar. You can navigate around. You click, you edit your site. I would like to see that view be pretty much the view of WordPress. I don't love this idea that you're in the site editor and you exit out and then you're back in the old crusty dashboard and you'll click into posts and pages and they don't quite look like they do on the front end because there's a title at the top and all this stuff. Like I'm so far into this at this point that is, I want to go full-fledged into the block editor, site editor view, where all of this stuff is easily accessible within that view. And if you look through the GitHub tickets, that's where we're going. You know, being able to edit a post live in the site editor, see your stuff on the left-hand sidebar, like all that's coming. It's just a big process to transition to. So that's where I would like to see the great unification of this UI, these many different UIs that we're kind of tiptoeing into. I would like to see all that stuff combined into a like unified
I totally agree with you. I think it would be really helpful where the admin backend is really divorced from the day-to-day editing
exactly.
and updating, because I don't think the average user in a lot of organisations need to go into the backend, and the experience of the backend, you know, some people in the plugin have slightly abused and degraded the experience.
Exactly.
I won't name names. You know who you are. Listening to this, where you have damaged and degraded the overall experience of utilising WordPress. God have mercy on your soul. So
that's exactly right.
So. Yeah, see that. Anything else?
You know, I think with developing Ollie and having it out there and getting people using it, beta testing it, I still just see there's just a lot of just confusion around the UI. And so maybe unifying all the stuff helps. I've started my own kind of educational stuff to help around that stuff as well. But I would say that if you're making a product for this new stuff, whether it's a block theme or block plugin stuff, I would just ask that make education a part of your product in some way, shape, or form. Onboarding, videos, tutorials, because, you know, the old WordPress, we benefited from 20 years of blog posts, YouTube videos, like endless content. You could find anything about anything with the old WordPress because everyone was creating content. It was, you know, there was monetization around creating content. There was just so much content created for the old WordPress. Well, we don't quite have that for the new WordPress yet. It's too early. And I feel like the kind of same WordPress content creation machine that was going for so long has kind of slowed down because WordPress just kind of is where it is. But so we need that stuff desperately. We need more content out there, tutorials, and making that a part of your product adds that much more knowledge to the overall, you know, pie of WordPress, so to speak.
Right. I agree with you there. We are in agreement. It's a fabulous thing. It's a WordPress thing.
Oh, yeah.
We all agree with one another.
Big family.
We're a big loving family. It's a bit of child abuse going on as well. Though. We will be. That was a bit of a dark remark, wasn't it? We will be back in a few moments with this fabulous interview.
Hey, it's Spence from LaunchFlows.com. If you've been looking for a fast and easy way to create powerful sales funnels on WordPress, then look no further than LaunchFlows. In just minutes, you can easily create instant registration, upsells, downsells, order bumps, one-click checkouts, one-time offers, custom thank you pages, and best of all, no coding is required. For as little as $50 per year, you can own and control your entire sales funnel machine with LaunchFlows. Get your copy today.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS. the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
We're coming back, folks. I just want to point out, if you're implementer, developer, designer, and you're looking for a great hosting provider that has real history in the WordPress space, why don't you look at becoming a partner with WP-Tonic? We specialize in the learning space, learning management systems, community websites, but we can host other types of websites. We would love you to consider becoming a WordPress host partner with us. To find out more, all you have to do is go over to wp-tonic.com partners, wp-tonic-tonic/partners, and see what we offer. And we'd love for you to consider to do outreach, and we can discuss how we can work together. It's nothing like working together, isn't it? So on we go on this merry interview. I think you touched it in the first half about what you would like to happen is what could improve in Gutenberg. Hopefully you're correct that some of the most major elements are behind us. But I think I also agree with you. What is important is UX improvements around the Gutenberg. I think it was one of the main, reflecting back, I'm interested to see if you agree with this, one of the major initial problems and things that were not really the importance of consistent, because I've noticed with your work, which I love, when it comes to, is that UX design is obviously very important to you. Would you agree that was I think the team that's working on Gutenberg, that's one of they are really trying to improve that, and you can see that in their work. Yeah. But I think there's still some work to be done. Do you think it was one of the major things that made this process not as smooth as it could be?
Yeah, I do agree. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it. A lot of these features were coming about, and it's always like, yeah, that's a great feature, let's add it, and we'll kind of wedge it in there and figure out. We'll just tape it up there, and we'll get back to it. And that's one thing. And not to make it sound like they're just haphazardly putting stuff in there. All this stuff comes from a great place, but I think one of the biggest hurdles, though, is that when you develop stuff like this, let's just use patterns, for example, or whatever. Coming up with the idea of patterns is like, cool, great, got the idea. Now you have to develop it. Well, it's kind of easy in a way to get developers to contribute code, right? WordPress has been a long time code development contribution space. So we're used to that. But what we don't have is a ton of designers hanging around WordPress. We just don't. We just have not historically had a bunch of designers, and it's specifically like UI designers. And there's a lot of reasons. We could go into a whole conversation why we haven't attracted the best designers. So it's tough to get, you can do a code commit in an hour or two and just, get in there, fix something, submit it, and go about your day. You can't really sit down and solve big UX problems on a whim, in a pass, sit down an hour, do it. You honestly have to spend hours and hours and hours in these discussions and follow ticket after ticket after ticket to understand the context, the flow, what the problem is.
It's a grind.
it's such a huge problem. And so I get why they don't have that, because it's one of the most difficult things to get people to commit to, is to sit and focus on this stuff full time.
Well, I totally agree with you. And I think with open source or projects like this, I think I've interrupted it. Hopefully you got some insights. I thought you would be a great guest to maybe give some insights about how this situation. But the truth is, I feel it's one of the great strengths of a SaaS. They can get a unified interface design, a UX design, where open source. So I think it's an area where, especially the biggest open source project out there, needs to find some methodology, some methods to, because so do you think, I interrupted you, I apologise, but would you agree what I just outlined? And you got any insights? I think you were just about to give some insight about how this might be improved.
Yeah, well, SaaS is in comparison, SaaS is so easy to get a good UI because it's a contained environment. You control every aspect of it. You can measure everything. You can watch people, how they use it. You can measure and test and iterate. You can't really do that with a distributed product like WordPress. There's millions of people using it, millions of different ways. And so you have to kind of find a UX baseline, a user experience baseline that kind of is good enough for everyone, but doesn't cater specifically to any one person, because then you're leaving other people out. So it's a fine line of user research and user experience and user interface. So, all that to say, I think there are more dedicated designers and design-minded people on the project now. Automatic has some people full-time on there, and I just know other people with those sensibilities are on there. So watching some of this come together over the past, I would say 6 months particularly, does have me quite excited as I'm seeing these concepts posted on GitHub, and then a few weeks later, a month later, seeing them being shipped into Gutenberg, which is ultimately going to land in WordPress. So I'm super motivated. And now, again, kind of going back to Ollie, these are all the things I've wanted for so long in a solution. That's why I haven't left WordPress largely, because I can see the endless potential. I've built a successful company before, and now I have even more tools to my advantage, all natively built into WordPress, and it's getting better by the day. I'm excited, and I'm that doesn't mean I don't get frustrated. You don't want to hear the things that I say to myself sometimes as I'm poking around the WordPress docs trying to find something very specific, and it's just not there because it's not documented yet. It can be frustrating, but I would say we're in a better position now than we've ever been in terms of the resources we need to bring this thing to the finish line.
Well, some people think, they might not say it in front of me, but I've definitely got whispers back that I'm categorised as a Gutenberg hater. Totally incorrect. Yeah. Because I think I totally understand why the leaders in Automatic or WordPress, which is another, where is the boundary between WordPress.org and Automatic? That's a whole other discussion. Yeah. But I understand why they had to do Gutenberg, and I totally support it, because they were between a rock and a hard place. Mm-hmm. That if they obviously modern web development was going to JavaScript, React, or one of the other libraries, you could just stay with PHP if you wanted, but that would have meant the total slow death of the project in technology terms and also in usability terms. So if you wanted the future for the project, you had to grab the ball by the horns. I've got my metaphors going here in this show, and you just had to do it. I think it could have been done slightly better. I think at the beginning there were some major decisions that, on reflection, were extremely problematic. But that's great. You know, I'm not there. I'm not in the trenches. I'm not there dealing with stuff. You know, so I'm just a backseat driver. So, which is fantastic, isn't it?
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous, isn't it? Especially when you're driving. You know. So you build up Atomic, and then you sold it to WP-Tonic. Now, every business, in the end, will either die or be sold, but was it a difficult decision, or was the check so large that it made it very easy? Or was it in the middle? And did you really have to think about it? And what was, apart from the financial side of it, which is important, what was some of the decisions that made you sell it, basically?
Yeah, there was a few things to it. You know, I think one thing was I had just run, a theme and plugin shop for 10 years by that point. And so, you know, I think there's that natural, maybe ready for a transition kind of thing. And also, you know, I had built up Atomic Blocks so quickly, and I started to get a following pretty quickly. You know, you never know like what that's going to be. Maybe it's going to putter out, maybe not. Maybe if I get some more resources behind it, maybe we build it up. You never know. So I think it just ultimately the email came just at the right time where I was just ready to talk about something different, I think. And, just sharpen some different skills. You know, I did a lot of leadership stuff at WP Engine, and that was...
well, they're a great crowd, aren't they? You know, I'm not just saying that. Jason's been on the podcast a few times. I really get, he's a fabulous guy. Gardner, they seem a quality crowd to me. I've never worked, but that's what I see.
They're like, you know, that was the first job I had in a long time. And so I was hesitant to go from freelancing, like an entrepreneurial posture to a 9-to-5 gig. But it was the culture there was very open and free and kind of collaborative. And so it made a lot of sense. That was another reason why it just felt like it made sense to do that. So, but you know, again,
it's a bit like the Automatic crowd. You know, I've always got on with them well. Actually, most of them are really nice people. I've had a few of them as guests, and I've always got on with them. I have a little dig at the boss that, you know, I'm not sure if some of my little digs have gone down that well, but I don't know. I haven't got any whispers back about that. I doubt if I'm even on his radar. But in general, I've always got on with that crowd fine, you know.
Everyone's awesome. You know, I think...
they're not. Some people in this space I absolutely despise with a passion.
I try to keep just a collaborative, because it's a huge environment, WordPress, but it's a small community. If you're a person that's creating and interacting with the WordPress kind of creator space, it's a small crowd ultimately. And so I try to keep just the cordial, and I've worked with some of these people in the past, and I will probably work with them in the future. So I just try to keep it above board.
There's a certain minority that are total hypocritical jerks to their core. Yeah, they are absolutely scum of the highest order. But
I've not interacted with those folks yet. And hopefully I don't.
Yeah. All right. We're on a rant there, but it's true. But the majority of people, like you say, I agree with you. They're great people, and I think I couldn't go because I'm planning another journey to South America in August, so I couldn't go to Athens. But I went to Porto last year. And it was just a great event. It was just, and I'm sure, I know some people went to Athens this year, to the European WordCamp folks.
Yep.
And you really saw the thing that you were, before I went on my little rant, which you refuse to have anything to do with, is that you really saw the strength of WordPress at Porto and at Athens, which you just don't see that passion and commitment with other software projects, either open source or not, do you?
No. And I think that just underscores, like, the folks who are trying to claim WordPress is dead or whatever, it's like, you don't understand how big WordPress is. If you think WordPress, even if it's on a slight, very minute decline, it's still so massive that even if it was declining, it would take over a decade for it to be noticeably like in decline. So, when you see the WordCamps and just the people coming together, the amount of people, if you were to measure the amount of people writing code for WordPress every day, even on GitHub alone, it's so huge. And so I love seeing it. I love seeing the kind of the rejuvenation of WordPress for the next 10 years, which I think is exactly what we saw. And that's why it was jarring and shocking and a tough transition, because change is hard. Even small changes in WordPress, piss off some people, let alone this.
Oh, never. You could never really piss off.
Yeah. Check out the reviews on the Gutenberg plugin.
The wrong tweet or the wrong comment.
That's
anywhere, right. Oh God, we're going to ban him forever. Fair due. You keyboard warrior. Off you go. Yeah. So let's go on. So if you had a time machine and you could go back, let's say 10 years, but when you were in junior school, because you look very young for your experience.
I'm almost 40.
Oh my God, you don't look it. You look
I'm moisturized.
But it's just your essence seems very relaxed. Somebody that's run a plug-in theme shot of the size that you have, you look too relaxed to me.
Yeah.
So if you had a time machine and you could go back and maybe tell yourself a couple of things that you wish you knew then that you know now, what would they be?
Yeah, I think I would tell myself to keep a product mind, because you could be a great developer, and this is not to say that you can't, like, you shouldn't be, but you could be a great developer, you could be a great designer, but without the product brain and constantly thinking about how this comes together in a product that you can sell to people and maybe even have acquired one day, for me, that's what I love doing. I love crafting something from the ground up, revolved around solving a problem, and having a product brain helps me solve that problem better, helps me communicate. Coming on podcasts like this, I don't have to think about things or prepare for them, because all of this stuff is stuff that I think about all day long.
You're telling me you didn't do a big dive and got yourself ready for this? I'm deeply upset now. I'm crushed.
I looked through your questions. I at least did that.
It's obvious some of my guests don't even read the questions, to be quite truthful. So obvious.
I bet. But yeah, WordPress is such an immature product space in a way. Now, I know that sounds weird to say, because we have big products like WooCommerce, and there's plenty of theme shops, these big themes like Divi and stuff that do big numbers. But I think overall, if you were to look at it, it's pretty immature product space compared to how big WordPress is. It's kind of an anomaly in a way. In the greater SaaS and tech world, you have all of these great products with great interfaces and all that stuff. And you look at WordPress and you're like, oh, okay, this thing seems like it's 10 years behind everything else. And so I think that leans into part of what I was saying earlier about the lack of maybe design or product minded folks in WordPress and the kind of bootstrap nature of it. It's hard to get that level of craft and quality when you're just scraping together hours here and there, and then you put something on the repo. It's like, whatever. It's just kind of a
Well,
plugin.
I think it's one of the areas that automatic and sponsorship and encouraging UX professionals or people to be able to spend time. I think it's an area which needs to be reviewed and some resources put into it, because I think you were correct about the developer side. You can go in, fix a bug, push it, walk on, get on with your other. When it's a UX problem or a project, it's a more in time, which equals money. Basically, you can't live on fresh air. It needs support and resources to put into place. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it needs investment, UI and UX. You can't just scrape together UI UX volunteer time. It has to be a concerted effort, always on every day. So and I think we are getting there. So for what it's worth, I see a huge improvement, and it's what is largely encouraging me now. I'm not worried about any extra features coming into WordPress. I feel like we have everything we need to be a competent, futuristic, complete website builder. It's just the experience now. That's what I think we need. We have everything. And
well, we're all gonna be replaced by AI anyway.
That's right. Yeah. So we got no future
anyway, haven't we?
Yeah, a few years, and we won't have to worry about this.
We're all finished anyway. We're doomed.
That's right.
There we go. So, are there any kind of resources? What kind of influences? Where do you get your influences from? Who do you listen to that you think, you probably be highly influenced by the WP Engine crowd working for them and that. But who kind of podcasts, blogs, out there? Who are some of the people that you listen to and you get some value from?
Yeah. I always have a tough time answering this question because I think I don't listen to.
Well, it is, isn't it? People think, but I'm thinking of dropping it because in some ways it seems an easy question, but in some ways it isn't, is it?
Yeah, no, it's tough because for me as a designer and a creative, I pull inspiration from everywhere. But in terms,
who do you, as Picasso said, who do you
steal from?
Who do you steal from? Come on, tell us. Who do you steal from?
Yeah, I probably steal more from the SaaS world than anywhere in WordPress, just because I don't.
So, what are a couple SaaS products that you in UX design that you think are really get you? You look at them and you think, wow, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm. I would say not so much specific sites, but I might be one of the few people who still use Dribbble. Dribble's a design community, and you can go and see, how people design certain things. I just love flipping through that because it's not so much, huge corporate websites. It's real world designers building real world stuff, and so you get fresh ideas about maybe things that aren't trends yet, or a color palette, or a way of doing a pop-up or something like that. I just like to look through there and then just go on my own.
I'm going to tell you something. My crowd probably don't realize I've got a master's in UX design.
Is that right?
I went to the London School of Print and Design to do my master's.
All right. There you go.
So you remember, it's probably you're too young for this because I'm showing my age, but you remember the first Adobe website. Lots of white space, big bold colours, really, really polished design. I can still see that website, that Adobe website. It's a shame about the company, but the website was great.
Yeah.
Never been
That's great.
You can still sponsor me, Adobe, if you want to. But I remember, and I've always been kind of influenced by, was it the German Gestalt, sensibility,
sure.
that kind of sensibility. Less is more, function, all that blah, blah. Yeah, that Danish kind of Spartan. That's my bag, that kind of thing. And I think you're influenced a bit that way as well, aren't you? I can see that in your work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love Dieter Rams and the kind of Scandinavian and all of that influence of design is right. Type-based, clean white space. All of that is my bag as well, for sure.
It's been a great discussion. Hopefully you come back. You might. I'm going to leave it. Hopefully you come back. I think it's been a great discussion. How do people find out more about you and what you're up to?
Yeah, you can, if you want to learn about Ollie, you can go to olliewp.com, OLLIEWP.com. Keep an eye out there for, there's going to be a pro version of that coming out. And otherwise, I'm on Twitter fairly actively at Mike McAlister. Or you could just Google Mike McAlister.
What about your course? What is your course focus? What's the title for your course?
Sure. Yeah.
Well?
Funny. Last year, I think it was. I created a course for, creators to learn how to make digital products. So that could be something like WordPress themes, or it could be stock photos, or, templates, things like that. I created a whole course called Liftoff, liftoffcourse.com, and that teaches you how to take an idea, digitize it, turn it into a digital product, and monetize it. And so it kind of walks you through the whole process of getting an idea down, how to turn it into a digital product, how to market it, how to launch it, how to...
And how much is it?
I think the ebook, there's just an ebook.
This should be on you. You should know this by heart.
Yeah, ebook only is $29.
Yeah,
ebook only is $29. I have an all access, which gives you an online course. It gives you the ebook, an audio book, and some other goodies for $129.
Wow, what a bargain, folks!
Oh, it's a huge.
You want to go over there and bag that, folks?
That's right.
Mike knows what he's talking about. So you want that for $120? Might go buy it myself. Hopefully, you offer me a coupon code.
That's right. Yeah.
After the feed, but you definitely want to go over there and bag that, folks. I'll make sure the links to everything that Mike has will be in the show notes, but you definitely want to go over there and purchase that, because that's a bargain of the year.
That's right.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. I think we've had a great discussion. We've had a wonder, haven't we? You've handled me with you. Obviously, you do listen to the show because you've handled my madness quite effectively. We will be back next week with another great discussion, or our monthly roundtable show. We will see you soon, folks. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. We really do appreciate it. Why not visit the Mastermind Facebook group? And also, to keep up with the latest news, click WP-Tonic.com/newsletter. We'll see you next time.